Hi everybody, we're going to be looking at facilities management from Guthrie. Please remember the approach that I'm taking with these last few chapters in here. This is basically an introduction to facilities management. If you were taking a facilities management course, this will be the first chapter we would look at. So this is an online chapter, you can use this for what you will. It's basically there to give you some ideas. I tell you what some of the key ideas are. Long-term use of school facilities. That's the key. We want to save the district money, but that also means that we want to be selective on what we're using and how we're using it, and also maintain it as much as we possibly can. We're also going to look at how to manage energy, security strategies, and different considerations in case we have to retrofit a building as well. So I think facilities management is the toughest job of the school business administrator. Many of people that are in facilities management don't have backgrounds in education. Many people in education, even business administrators that are coming with an accounting degree or finance degree, don't understand facilities management. So you have to make sure that you're prepared for the realities and the challenges of this position if you as the business manager are the facilities manager, which can and does happen. So maintenance is basically allowing the school to have upkeep, repair, and replacement and continuous usability. This basically says that we have, that we're going to use the school to its maximum capacity, we're going to be good with the materials that we have, and we're going to make sure that there's proper upkeep and repair for those materials. So what do we do when we organize our maintenance department? We're worried about safety, serviceability, and the general economy as well. Normally, we will have local system maintenance programs, which in Oklahoma, this tends to be the most common, contracted or outsourced plans, or a combination of both, where some functions are outsourced and some are not. So what are the different types of maintenance? Well, we can take a minute and we can look at each one of these. Preventative is basically preventing a machine from breaking down. I think preventative maintenance, the best example of that is you see that a lot on photocopy machines. Periodic is there's maintenance every year or every 2 years on a particular item. Predictive, you're guessing that something's going to fail and you prepare for it to fail in the first place. Recurring, these are things that you have to repair every single day. Changing a light bulb, changing a power surge. An emergency happens and something has to be done almost overnight. Think about if you're in some of these schools in August or September and the air conditioning fails. That's an emergency, especially in this state. So what are the measures that we have to look for? What are they and what do we have to do? Well, custodial measures are things like cleanliness, supplies, and training. For maintenance, you have to look at the quality of the maintenance that they're doing, how well you respond to emergency needs, are they actually getting done, and proper employee training. Grounds. Is the school desirable looking? You want people to move into your district so your district can make money. The school has to be desirable. Is there training and professional development for employees? Maintenance employees are the ones that get shut out the most of training and development. And do you pay them overtime? Do you pay them hourly, or do you pay them based on a salary? So, who works? Honestly, it's basically people that are tied to the community and district. These are locals that are going to be your maintenance people. Always have been, always are. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Well, I think that's certainly up to you to decide. Many school districts now hire students during the summer months to perform traditional custodial duties and to ready up the building for the upcoming school year. You need to remember that administrators have to remember that these people need additional training and additional professional development. If something changes in the way that the district wants something to operate, you're going to have to change the policies and change the training and development as well. So, easy maintenance records. If somebody just mentions or writes down how many times something is fixed and keeping accurate inventory of supplies, you can go a long way. If you know that something is consistently needing fixed, it might be time to replace it. So that's a time when you would explore maintenance records. So many schools are using MMS, which are maintenance management systems. I know a few of you are in districts that are using this. So one of the things that I think matters the most on these is the historical data that comes from it. Has there been any historical data on how long repairs took? What was the time frame to turn around when the request was submitted? But the person doing this also has to be proficient in computers and technology. Plant operation is day-to-day stuff. This is cleaning, heating, and grounds care. Most of the time you can say that plant operation has a general routine. Staff have to know their responsibilities and be open when something needs replaced or requires additional considerations. The superintendent and school board will normally determine where costs and responsibilities are for the plant upkeep. So I give you 6 essential questions about facilities. You have to ask yourself, do the facilities provide for all future learning programs? If we're at a point where they don't, then we have to explore other options. Are the facilities located in approximate proximity to students? I've already said this earlier in the class, but that high school needs to be the most central place in the district. Is the building safe? Is it worn out? Does any equipment in the building need replaced? And could we sell an old building and construct a new one? And in some cases, there's cost-effectiveness measures tied to that work. So the custodial department depends on the arrangement of each building. Most of you will have buildings that are site-based management for custodial, meaning the principal's responsible for the organization and responsibilities that their custodial staff does. The district will centralize some of them, and sometimes they'll use central administration to assign. Custodians and maintenance employees do most of their work overnight, and that's important that the principal knows that and administrators know that as well. So what do we have to think about? We have to think about 4 duties and considerations when we're staffing maintenance workers: selection, training, assignment, and supervision. So when we talk briefly about selection, health, skills, and character are necessary in establishing who is hired by a school district. Maintenance workers have to have clearances. They have to be able to pass a child abuse check. They have to be able to pass a federal background check. Not the case if you're working in businesses or companies, so they have to have character. Title IX does pertain to maintenance and facility employees. So you have to make sure that you, since we're in a school system, that we are honoring Title IX. So if there are a less populated applicant that is applying, they have to get higher consideration. Bidding and awarding of employment should not be done as a patronage system, and that is easier said than done. A lot of times, people become working with school maintenance as a bridge from one job to the next, and they also do it so they can keep their benefits as well. If new technologies come, staff training should be done. Group training is normally the most effective way to handle this, but we need to make sure that it's done on scene in a building where this is actually possible to do. Staff assignment. My belief is that one employee has to be present in a building at all times. Meaning, your custodian, your maintenance, your maintenance worker, one person should be in a building at all times. That prevents against theft and protects the building. Our textbook talks about square footage measures and using a weighting scheme. I think that really depends on costs and efficiency in your building or in your district. Staff supervision. This is done at the building level. However, this is a problem that can happen because if your maintenance supervisor is central administration and you're a building principal, any conversations you have with your custodian or your maintenance worker, you have with them, but then it goes to central administration as well. So staff supervision can be difficult because you have to involve multiple parties in any reinforcement for discipline at the school level. Even though our book talks about reduction in force, let's be honest, this is one of the staff areas that's pretty safe. We're not going to have to worry about reduction in force with school maintenance because most of the time they're already at a minimum and you can't afford to lose any of them anyway, so most of them are pretty safe in their positions. So union agreements, many districts have permitted employees to be unionized even if teachers and staff are not. This means that they have overtime pay, recognition rights. If they want to work overnight, they have the option to work overnight and possibly for more money. And grievance policies are in place. This can frustrate people in schools because even if you're non-unionized, chances are the maintenance workers themselves are unionized as well. So we're going to talk briefly about energy and research conservation. We'll talk about these 8 key elements in terms of energy in schools. So energy costs are a big consideration of the district. Our textbook will say, if you have a strong recycling program, you get a tax break. So if your district has that option, you should be recycling. If you can conduct an energy audit and see where money can be saved, that can help, but I would always suggest this could be done by an independent agency, so they're going to give you a more honest answer. If you have a microcomputer unit that can help save money and document when energy costs can be saved, that's a good thing. I'm recording this video right now, off hours on a Sunday afternoon. You can bet that this room in this building is about 95 degrees. There is no air conditioning in here, but they're using energy management. Why should they air condition this room if nobody else is in the building but me? Upgrades. Schools get free upgrades if there's a strong partnership with the energy company. So you, in your role as an administrator in building relationships, this is something that you might want to consider. Energy upgrades. What does a free energy upgrade look like? So operating schemes. I do want to talk about this because this is a way to save money, and I'm going to go into this a little bit later when we look at some of the budgeting considerations in a school district. Your district could close 8 to 10 Fridays a year during the summer and reduce everybody's vacation by a week. So instead of giving principals and superintendents 3 weeks of paid vacation, or 4 weeks, give them 3 and give them 8 to 10 Fridays off. This will save more money in the long run than you know, and it will keep principal and superintendent satisfaction high. If there's only, one employee on a Friday, you've cut down all the energy costs. And over the summer, when energy costs are the most, this can be huge. Sometimes there are snow days, and you might not expect that, and you might have to have different facilities open and ready to be used, and that can change as well. So cost reduction. If you can find any opportunities where schools can lock in a certain cost in a certain energy commodity, the energy companies are going to be willing to go for this, and the reason they are is because it keeps them with your business. Most gas companies do this for residential owners. You're stuck with them for 5 years, and they'll lock in the cost. That way, if the cost goes down, they make money, but they can also protect themselves as well. They'll do this with schools as well, and if you can find a way that this benefits you, you certainly want to consider doing this. So, if you have financial incentives, meaning you over-budget the expenses for building management, I strongly recommend over-budgeting these expenses. Principals and district leaders are blindsided easily with maintenance costs. So if you hold on to funds for an extra year to help those costs, it's something that can help the district as well. So fire safety. What do we have to know about fire safety? We have to know that what violates codes more than anything else. Flammable materials affixed to walls. If we have combustible materials under stairs and elsewhere in stairwells. Once again, the kids are going to get to the stairwell, so I wouldn't necessarily do that. If you've blocked exits. Remember, you can block exits with materials, but you don't necessarily block exits with people. To avoid from a school being a potential fire trap, try to do weekly locker clean or monthly locker cleanouts, definitely at the middle and high school level. Kids will just throw stuff in their lockers, they won't clean them out. Budget 5 or 10 minutes to do this. It gets them moving, it gets them active, and it's a good way they can prevent against fires and accidents happening in the district. Even though we love to cover our walls, be careful that not all the walls are covered with materials, because if the building catches on fire, it's going to increase your flammability. Anything that's liquid or gas that can be caught on fire, more in a science classroom than anything else, one of the things that you want to do is make sure that that's stored in an approved location. So plant security, we'll go over 5 different things that we need to know about plant security, including designing on the outside, planning for a special event, security technology, search and seizure, and zero tolerance. So every facet of design relies on different facility planning, meaning that sometimes community members care more about how something looks aesthetically than functionally. So your school needs to be a beautiful place. You design on the outside. So the security should be really done on the outside as well. Your main security facilities have to be on the outside of the building to prevent people from getting in, but it also has to be done in an aesthetically pleasing manner as well. Special events are difficult because different types of security have to be present. If you're doing a special event, you should probably consider hiring security guards or having a police officer handy. The main thing that you have to remember at special events is that there are going to be people on the grounds that don't have clearance to be there. They could be, Aunt Susie or Cousin Johnny, and that can create a problem as well. So security technology, digital, is it good, is it bad, it's costly. That's what you need to know. You need a strong computer to manage digital technology. However, it's a large cost up front. If you can afford it, great. If you can't afford it, then we have a problem. So if you can afford it in the beginning, do it. But if you can't afford it, it's something you want to consider elsewhere. Search and seizure. Anybody who conducts searches should be aware that they could potentially be violating the Fourth Amendment rights of students. Students can refuse a search without a parent present, and that's a legal consideration as well. And if you have a security guard that tries to search them, that's an easy way for the school district to lose a big lawsuit. So this is what you should do if your security worker suspects something. They should obviously contact the principal first. But if they have another buddy, that's another personnel member around, both of them stay with the child. And then somebody else contacts the parent, gets them there, and then you do the search. Safest and easiest way to do it. So, zero tolerance policies. If you're going to do it, it has to be documented at the district level, and it has to go down to each building and make sure that it's conveyed appropriately to the teachers, staff, and students. If you profile students associated with commonalities of known offenders, the Civil Rights Department is really attacking this right now and saying that we cannot do this in schools, understandably, but you need to keep that in mind. So everything that we do, we're constructing for the future. We're looking at ways that we can create and change our schools so that we have a school that will last and sustain for a number of years. So building sites. Building sites really are land availability and where we can actually locate the building. Remember, if you have a centralized school, meaning an all-inclusive 9th grade, an all-inclusive kindergarten, all-inclusive high school, there's no other high schools, no other 9th grades, no other kindergarten, it needs to be centrally located as possible in the school district so that it's equidistant from everybody. Perimeter. Most school districts tried to have a well-designed perimeter where one had to go through the schoolyard first and then reach the front door. This has since changed. Many urban buildings are close to the street, and the front door might be a few steps away from the sidewalk. That can be a problem as well, because if action happens, it's going to increase their ability, their ableness to get into the school. Some schools don't have perimeters anymore. It's just the building, here's the door, good luck to you. When this occurs, they have safe zone buffers. These are the area between the street and the sidewalk. Most of the time, this is the schoolyard, playground, and other recreational areas, and you'll find most of the time these are behind the building. So even having access and being able to see them is a little challenging as well. So most of the time, your pedestrian circulation and access is going to be done in a semicircle. So cars and buses come to the front of the school, one lane is for buses, one lane is for cars, and it's done in a circular driveway. But this design has to have a buffer, meaning there's some grass or something in case there is a car bomb or an undesired street activity. Obviously, we hope none of you will see a car bomb in your life, but you have to think about preparation and security as well when you're looking at this stuff. So now the front door, honestly, there's many ways into a building. It creates security challenges. I know from supervising internships, there were a lot of buildings I could just open up the door and I knew where I was going, and that caused problems as well, and it caused a security issue. So what we could also do for buildings, we could retrofit them, meaning we got it. We got the building, but we keep this frame. And then we build everything and we put it into the frame, knowing that the frame is the most expensive part of this. This could be a problem if you haven't explored every option. Some districts, this is cost saving, but in a lot of cases, you could spend just a little bit more money and have a completely new building that's going to sustain for a longer period of time. So this is a long chapter, but it's the only facilities management that you get in this class. I think that's important because you're only going to get one look at facilities, managing risks, and managing materials. But in a facilities management class, you would obviously look at this a lot more. So if you have any questions on this, please let me know. As I said before, there's really not much to this particular chapter, and that's it. Thank you.